I did my Master of Arts at University of Sussex in Brighton back in 91, 92, and I was doing my master's thesis on social justice in Eastern Europe, which was going through transition there in the early 90s. And my professor suggested that I use a theory by a philosopher named John Rawls, theory of social justice. It's actually very well known. Anybody in the social sciences hopefully will know of Rawls's work. But he puts forth that the only way to really determine your true values is if you were to create a society into which you will be born, but you do not know what role you will play.
Okay.
So shall I continue on that? So take race, for example. Should all the races be equal, or should certain races have more power? In my so-called next life, or my ideal society, I don't know, will I be born a black man or a white man or an Asian woman or an Indian person? I have no idea. So before I enter my ideal society, I need to write down what would be the ideal society. Do men have power, or women have power, or they're equal? Do white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic or Arabic people have privilege, or are they all equal? Take it a step further. In your next life, Nick, what animal or what species are you going to be born? You obviously don't know. So you create social justice based on your truest, deepest values. And say, in my ideal society, this species gets all the power. These species will be our friends, and these species, we will kill them, and we will eat their dead bodies. And then basically you take a set of dice, you roll the dice, and say, oh, number 7, oh, I'm going to be a fish. Whoosh! Tough luck. But how do you avoid being killed in your ideal society? Step back. What would be my ideal society? The humans would or would not be at the top of the food chain. So-called food chain. It's actually the violence chain, to be more accurate, because there are so many, obviously, tens and thousands of plant-based foods around, but only half a dozen animals that we treat as objects, because people are not living their true values. So if you ask the average person who says, oh, I love hamburgers, a hamburger that technically is a dead cow on 2 pieces of bread, in your ideal society, will humans or cows have the right to kill the other? But you don't know who you will be born when you are reborn in that ideal society. Your chances of being born a human, and if you just did the math, there are something like 8 billion people on planet Earth. And I'll have to make up a number here because I don't know the numbers. Let's say there are 50 billion farmed animals on the planet. Chickens and fish all over the place being slaughtered by the minute, by the millions, by the billions. So if there is a reincarnation, or just in this theoretical social justice experiment, my chances of being born the human up at the top of the violence chain are 1 in a million. There's a much higher chance that I'm going to be born at the bottom of the violence chain. I'm going to be a chicken, or a cow, or a pig, or a duck, or a lamb, and I'm going to be locked up in a cage and have my testicles cut off, and I'm going to be tortured, or if I'm female, I'm going to be raped, and then when I'm fat enough, they're going to cut my head off. Is that what you consider to be social justice? People can go all around with different things. Well, God gave us the animals. It's like, yeah, well, maybe God did that a long time ago, but let's say you're creating society and your personal concept of social justice. I don't want you to be quoting Darwin or Marx or any spiritual leaders. What is your personal concept of social justice? Write it down in your journal. And if you say, yeah, I think humans do have the right to kill all, then what you do, it makes more sense in the book because you can follow it out and see the diagrams, is, okay, so if you roll a 3, you're a human. You roll the number 4, you're a fish. Roll number 5, you're a duck. Roll number 6, you're a pig. Take the dice. It's like Russian roulette, right? Imagine that. Tom, what does a gun have? Like eight bullets in it? 1 in 8, I'm going to be human. But 7 in 8, I'm going to be a cow or pig. Would you pull the trigger? If it was 7 out of 8? Good God, if it was 1 in a million, I wouldn't pull that trigger.
Right.
So if you did not know what you're going to be in your ideal society, when you were born into your ideal society,